Imagine you were standing in this, like, incredibly crowded room, and every single person in there is just screaming at the top of their lungs.
Oh, wow, that sounds awful.
Right. It's terrifying. They're demanding answers. They're shouting all their grievances, begging for someone to just fix their deeply personal problems.
Yeah.
And there is no one in charge. There's just this noise bouncing off the walls, getting louder and louder, until you literally can't even hear your own heartbeat. You are just drowning in this sea of unchecked anger and unacknowledged grief.
You know, that imagery feels uncomfortably close to just logging onto the internet on an average Tuesday.
It really does.
I mean, we live in an era defined by this constant, overwhelming demand to be heard, but usually without anyone actually doing the listening.
Exactly. And that is exactly why we are here. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking you on a journey into a world that, well, it mirrors our own exhausting reality pretty closely.
Very closely, yeah.
We are looking at this fascinating, highly allegorical manuscript. It's titled The Complaint Department Final 3.0, is to really unpack this rich narrative, not merely as a piece of fiction,
Right.
but as a profound exploration of human connection, the absolute weaponization of belief, and the radical, almost terrifying power of simply listening.
Yeah, it's a heavy text.
It really is.
Yeah.
So we are following this character, Solomon Greaves. He's a grieving, widowed schoolteacher. He has lost his wife. He's completely unraveling. And one night, he just wanders into the woods, finds a ruined altar, and screams at the universe.
And the wild thing is the universe actually answers him. The creator speaks to him in the dark, and there's no, burning bush, no choir of angels singing or anything like that.
Just a voice.
Just a voice delivering this mandate. It says, if you're so sure I'm not listening, then listen for me. So Solomon is abruptly appointed to be the world's very first and only complaints officer.
What a job title.
Right. But to really understand the world-altering climax of this story, we first have to examine the excruciatingly quiet way it begins. Because it doesn't start with a global movement.
No, not at all.
Or like a viral campaign. It starts in this abandoned, repurposed grain exchange building at the crossroads of two really tired streets.
Yeah. Solomon just sets up shop there, and the world completely ignores him.
Yeah.
I mean, people walk by this broken man in a dusty building, and they just assume he has lost his mind.
Which is fair, honestly.
Totally fair. So he realizes pretty quickly that a passive open door isn't going to be enough. He resorts to physical labor. He literally goes to an old quarry and drags this massive, incredibly heavy granite slab all the way back to the building.
And he clumsily chisels the creator's decree into the stone.
Yes, his hands are bleeding by the end of it. It's brutal.
Yeah.
He carves, let me make sure I get the quote right, "All complaints shall be received, none shall be ignored. Silence shall not win."
And the public response to this grand gesture is just immediate mockery.
Yeah, it's so depressing. A teenager actually spray paints creator's Yelp review in jagged black letters right over the stone.
Which is such a brilliant modern touch.
It is. Okay, let's unpack this, because this is really where the underlying genius of the allegory reveals itself. Think of Solomon's department as like a reverse customer service desk.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. In our world, if you go to a customer service counter, you expect a transactional exchange. You want a refund for a broken product, or you want the item fixed, or you just want to yell at a manager so they make the friction go away.
You want a solution.
Exactly. But Solomon's system is the exact opposite of that paradigm. I mean, there are absolutely no refunds. He isn't fixing a single thing.
No, not one.
The sole product of his department is the act of witnessing.
And offering presence instead of a cure is, frankly, incredibly difficult for human psychology to process.
Why is that?
Well, when people are hurting, they are deeply conditioned to seek out solutions, vengeance, or vindication. By offering absolutely none of those outcomes, Solomon forces people to sit with the sheer discomfort of their own pain.
Which is the last thing anyone wants to do.
Exactly. And look at his filing system. He creates this system in his office with drawers bearing these highly specific labels. Things like invisible, unclaimed grief, and suppressed fury.
Those labels are just gut-wrenching.
They are. And that filing system operates as a mirror for how modern society categorizes trauma. If a problem cannot be immediately solved or monetized, we just file it away in the dark.
We really do. And, Solomon figures out pretty quickly that damaged people rarely just walk into a building labeled for their pain, he has to actually go out into the noise himself.
Right. He hits the streets.
Yeah, he starts walking the streets of his city. He visits dining rooms where couples are sitting in this breathless, toxic silence. And then there's that scene at the bustling fruit market.
Oh, the pear scene.
Yes. He watches two men practically get into a fist fight over a crate of spoiled pears. And Solomon just steps directly between them, completely ignoring the fruit, and asks, "Are you angry about the pears or something else entirely?"
It's such a disarming question.
It is. And he discovers that one man's brother just died. And the other man's brother died a month ago.
Wow.
Right. They aren't fighting over produce at all. They are drowning in unacknowledged grief and just projecting it onto the closest available conflict.
He is digging for the question beneath the question. He starts asking citizens, what haven't you been allowed to say? And eventually, the dam breaks.
It has to.
Yeah, the first authentic complaint he receives at the building comes from an elderly widower. The man sits on the stone steps for hours before finally whispering to Solomon, "I just needed someone to see me."
That line gets me every time.
Me too. And Solomon simply listens to him. He offers zero advice. He just records the grievance, puts the man's thumbprint on the envelope, and files it.
And after that, the department slowly begins to fill up. But the manuscript introduces a massive structural problem here.
Right, the macro level.
Exactly. Individual healing at the micro level isn't happening fast enough to stop the macro level collapse of their society. Because ignoring millions of individual complaints for generations inevitably leads to a systemic explosion.
It's unavoidable.
Yeah. The text says the whispers become wind, the wind becomes shouting, and the shouting becomes fire. The world descends into what the text calls the war on belief.
And this isn't a normal war. This global conflict shifts from physical territory to ideological purity. It becomes a hyper-advanced algorithmic war.
It's terrifying how plausible it feels.
Very. Belief systems are quantified and ranked. Citizens are actually forced to verify their core beliefs through an AI system just to secure housing, access food rations, or even retain the right to marry.
Just to live a normal life.
Exactly. Everything a person says, types, or thinks is monitored by the Universal Belief Compliance Engine, or the UBCE.
UBCE, yeah.
And the algorithm even slices up videos of Solomon's teachings about empathy. It takes his words entirely out of context to mock him as a traitor to certainty.
I really have to push back on the fundamental logic of their society here, though.
How so?
Well, is a world that monitors and enforces belief through an algorithm actually measuring faith? Or is it just measuring terror?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Like the UBCE seems less like an instrument of the divine and way more like a high-tech social credit system. People aren't proving their devotion. They are performing compliance to avoid starvation.
Yeah, it's survival.
It's the ultimate irony. A massive, bloody war fought to aggressively prove who the creator loved most almost triggers the creator to hit the delete button on the entire human race.
And that tension is central to the entire narrative. But UBCE strips away the vital component of true faith, which is, well, the space to doubt.
Right.
In the midst of this global bloodshed fueled by absolute certainty, Solomon is sitting at his desk, utterly exhausted, and suddenly a drawer opens on its own.
This part is so eerie.
It is. An unmarked envelope appears. It is complaint number 00, filed directly by the creator.
Wow.
It reads, let me quote this, "Humanity has ignored my warnings. Division deepens. Cruelty spreads. Final notice."
Final notice, just chilling. And the war doesn't end with a traditional bomb or a peace treaty or even the creator stepping out of the clouds.
No, it's much smaller than that.
So much smaller. The climax is a 90-second viral video that streams simultaneously across the entire globe.
Yeah.
Just 90 seconds.
Yeah.
It shows a desperate mother covered in dirt and ash holding her newborn baby, and a soldier is standing 10 feet away with a weapon leveled directly at her.
He's screaming at her, right?
Yes, screaming at her to make a declaration of belief for the UBCE scanners. The mother is completely terrified, so she turns and screams down at her own newborn. She begs the baby to choose a belief so the soldier won't execute them.
God, that's dark.
You have to believe something, anything, she yells at an infant who has only been breathing for a matter of minutes. And the baby just stares back in complete silence.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that baby's silence functioned as a devastating mirror for humanity.
Yeah, how do you mean?
Think about your own digital footprint. Think about how often you feel pressured to perform a stance or signal a belief online just to prove you belong to the right group.
Oh, all the time. It's exhausting.
The UBCE just took that modern instinct to its absolute lethal extreme. In that 90-second broadcast, the entire world was forced to see exactly what it had become. Worship had been reduced to violent metrics.
Violent metrics, that's exactly it. And the text describes humanity exhaling in one long global gasp. Soldiers just lower their weapons, the scanners are turned off, the belief algorithms crash entirely.
And they don't crash because of a software glitch, right?
No server malfunction. The algorithms are shut down by shame. The sheer unbearable horror of demanding ideological compliance from an innocent life causes the old systems to completely collapse from exhaustion.
And a collapse of that magnitude leaves an immense vacuum of power. The old institutions, the military leaders, the tech conglomerates, they're all completely discredited.
Gone.
So the demographic that steps into that void is the most unheard group in human history. The children.
The children take over.
Yeah, they take the reins of society because they were guided by the only institution that never forced an agenda or a metric onto them, the complaint department.
And they established an entirely new society on the planet, which they decide to rename Sirtis. And they build this civilization on 3 fundamental laws.
Let's go through those.
Yeah, so Law 1 states, if Sirtis has enough, then we have enough. They basically expose scarcity as a manufactured lie designed to keep people competing.
Which is huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
They completely replace GDP, gross domestic product, with an EPEI, a provision equity index.
And, we actually see echoes of this in real-world economic theories today, like donut economics or post-growth models.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because GDP measures the sheer volume of activity, including destructive activity. I mean, if an oil tanker spills, the cleanup actually boosts GDP.
It's so messed up when you think about it.
It is. But the children's EPEI measures actual human provision. If the planet produces enough water, food, and energy for everyone, then wealth hoarding becomes culturally shameful.
I love that.
It is a complete economic reset based on the observable abundance of the planet rather than the constant fear of running out.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Law 2. It decrees. All children belong to Sirtis.
This one is intense.
It really is. The law stipulates that if any adult wants to leave the society and start their own splinter faction, they are perfectly free to do so. But they cannot take any children with them.
Right.
And, taking away ownership of children sounds deeply dystopian. It sounds like a sci-fi nightmare where the state confiscates kids. But in the context of this allegory, Solomon realizes it is the ultimate liberation. It severs generational trauma right at the root.
Because you cannot mandate an economy of enough without addressing the psychological root of hoarding. And that usually comes down to protecting your own lineage at the expense of others.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. Hatred, prejudice, and conditioned violence are not naturally occurring phenomena in infants. They are inherited. They are fed to the young by adults long before the young have the cognitive defenses to question them.
Wow.
So, by legally declaring that children belong to the collective care of the planet, the children sever the channel by which old poison enters new minds.
That is brilliant.
Hi.
So if Law 2 protects the mind from inherited hate, Law 3 rewires the body. Law 3 mandates every hello and every goodbye must be followed by a full-body hug.
I love this one.
On paper, it sounds almost childishly adorable, right?
Yeah.
But the systemic implications are staggering.
Because the mechanism behind it is rooted in hardcore neuroscience. A full-body embrace lasting more than 20 seconds stimulates the vagus nerve.
Oh, the vagus nerve, yeah.
Yeah, and it triggers a massive release of oxytocin while simultaneously dropping cortisol levels. So by legally mandating this physical vulnerability into everyday bureaucracy, the children neutralized aggression at a biological level.
So like court proceedings.
Court proceedings, international diplomacy, tense business negotiations, they all had to start and end with an embrace.
That's wild.
It is. You simply cannot maintain the cold, dehumanizing detachment required to oppress another person when your nervous system is biologically regulating alongside theirs. The complaint department effectively became the world's conscience.
But of course, Sirtis is still a world populated by human beings, and human beings still experience complex pain.
Sadly, yes.
Even with an equity index and mandatory hugs, human systems just cannot process every single tragedy. So the narrative introduces this cosmic mechanic operating behind the scenes.
The woman in the gray shawl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Throughout Solomon's entire journey, he is visited by this mysterious woman in the gray shawl. She always appears right before something fractures. She's there before his wife dies, before the creator speaks, and right before the algorithm war ignites.
And in a pivotal dream sequence, Solomon actually witnesses her speaking directly with the creator. The creator notes that every mortal who encounters her tries to assign her a name, but her true name is Time.
Time.
Yeah. She introduces herself as Iona, and her dialogue with the creator is incredibly revealing. She says, "You created potential, I create becoming."
I create becoming. That distinction fundamentally shifts how we view hardship. Because the creator provided the raw, unshaped existence, but time provides the necessary friction for growth.
Yeah, that friction is key.
Right. Think about a major crisis in your own life. When something devastating happens, you rarely understand the why of it in the immediate aftermath.
Almost never.
Time isn't just a clock ticking away your days. As Iona explains, she is the literal, and this is a great quote, distance between cause and understanding. You require that temporal distance to process who the tragedy is forcing you to become.
What's fascinating here is how Iona fundamentally alters Solomon's understanding of his own mandate through the concept of the unfiled complaint.
The unfiled complaint, yes. Explain that.
Well, she tells him a story about a soldier named Eric's. Eric's mind was completely collapsing under the moral injury and trauma of the algorithmic war. His specific grievance was so agonizing, so intensely heavy, that processing it would have obliterated his soul.
It was just too much for a human to bear.
Exactly. But the creator didn't miraculously heal the soldier's body or, wipe his memory. Instead, the creator completely removed that specific complaint from existence. It was never filed.
So Solomon realizes the system isn't just the granite stone and the filing cabinets he can see in his office. He doesn't have to carry every single burden the world produces.
And that realization is a profound release for him. It establishes that some grief is strictly between a human soul and the universe itself.
Wow.
We are not required to catalog every trauma, we are not required to witness every injustice, and we certainly aren't required to fix everything we see. Some wounds simply do not belong to the machinery of this world.
That is so beautifully put. And because humanity finally learned to process its pain through connection rather than dominance, the planet eventually earns its true name in the cosmic archives.
Sonari Certus.
Yes. It is no longer just Certus, it becomes Sonari Certus, the world that hurt itself. And the citizens commemorate this evolution with a poem that every child memorizes. It's known as the Listener's Oath.
I have it right here. It begins, 2 ears, 1 mouth. This is my start. To hear the world, I tune my heart. I speak not first, nor speak to win, but open wide and take you in.
So good.
I carry stories not my own, so none on Certus will grieve alone.
The entire narrative of Solomon Grieves and the Complaint Department acts as this functional blueprint for surviving an age of relentless noise.
It really does.
It demonstrates that the simple act of listening, true agendaless listening, is the most disruptive and healing act a person can commit in a highly polarized environment.
Absolutely.
We started this deep dive talking about a crowded room where everyone is screaming and no one is listening. You don't need a massive granite slab or a cosmic decree to change the temperature of the room you are standing in right now.
No, you really don't.
The next time someone brings you a grievance, whether it's a partner, a coworker, or a friend, try simply being a receiver instead of a fixer. Just witness the reality of their pain without trying to manage it.
Resist the urge to offer a refund on their experience. Do not offer a 5-step solution. Just offer the full weight of your presence.
So what does this all mean for you as you step back into your day? I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought to explore on your own.
Think about this one.
Think about the loudest, most persistent complaint you are carrying about your own life right now. The one that plays on a loop in the back of your mind. If you were forced to sit in complete silence with it, without trying to solve it, without trying to numb it with a screen, and without blaming anyone else for its existence,
Without any of that.
what is that complaint actually trying to tell you about who you are becoming?